Cinemot Films is coming to us with love from Portugal. This is a small Portuguese film manufacturer on a mission to deliver a wide range of film stocks, and currently they have 7 products available. Back at the beginning of March, I received a package from Cinemot Films containing 6 of their 7 stocks for me to try, and I'm very excited to talk about them in today's video. Big thank you to Cinemot Films for sending me some film and giving me the opportunity to test them out. Each of these films is named after a different Portuguese landmark, city, or historical figure. All of them are black and white film stocks, except for Lisboa 1999, which is a C41 color film. So far I have shot with 5 of these films. I did my best to shoot with all of them before this video, but unfortunately my camera broke like 4 frames into shooting Coimbra. I rewound it, and I don't have a leader retriever, and so the leader is stuck in the film canister, and I need to take it somewhere to get it unstuck from the film canister. I should really just buy a leader retriever, but I don't have one, and I haven't gotten around to retrieving it yet, so sorry Coimbra. And also, unfortunately, for Fado, I cannot find the scans anywhere. I don't know where they've gone. I'm very sorry. For the 4 films that I have scans of, I will show you my results side by side, both edited and unedited, so you can get an idea of how they look straight from the scanner and how they can look with a little zhuzhin. And for the 3 products that I don't have scans of, I will share information that I found online, conclusions I've drawn based on example photos I've seen, as well as some example images from Google and Cinemot's website/Instagram. I will also share basic specs for each film stock like ISO and balance, as well as some speculation about what film they may actually be. See, Cinemot Films does not actually produce the emulsion. They don't coat the films themselves. They are buying bulk rolls from other manufacturers. There's a ton of film companies that do this. I've talked about a bunch of them on this channel, and I always find it a little bit fun to try and guess what the films being sold actually are. So I have some ideas for a few of these, and I will share those in turn. So with all of that said, let's jump right in and talk about the film stocks. First off, we have Amalia, or Amalia 100D. This is a black and white, high contrast, fine grained film named after Portuguese singer and actress Amalia Rodrigues. It is fitting that this is named after an actress because I am almost 100% sure that this is inspired by a German cinefilm from the 1960s. How do I know? Because I have a smoking gun. That's how. You see, back in January, I shot a roll of Lomography Potsdam Kino that had these weird textures all over it. See the swirly twirlies, the smudges, the scrapes? I have never seen that on a roll of film before, and so I took it to Reddit, seeing if I could blame it on the lab. And Reddit told me that I had accidentally double exposed the whole roll with pictures of random textures. Thank you, Reddit. Thank you so much. It's so helpful. Yes, I actually did take an entire roll of random pictures of textures and swirly twirlies, and then reloaded it and shot the entire roll again with random pictures, and totally forgotten about the entire thing until some random guy on Reddit reminded me. Don't you love it when the internet assumes that you're comically dumb instead of taking the time to actually inspect your question? Welcome to the film photography community on Reddit. Anyway, there were a few helpful comments and a few folks who had encountered the same phenomenon on their own rolls of Lomography Potsdam Kino. We determined that it was an issue with the emulsion. Perhaps a bad batch of this film stock had made it onto the shelves. So, imagine my surprise when I saw the very same textural phenomenon on my roll of Amalia 100D. These swirly twirlies and scuffs couldn't come from anywhere else. This is a smoking gun indeed. Amalia 100D is the very same film as Lomography Potsdam Kino. I can say so with almost 100% certainty. And it looks like Potsdam and Amalia retail for the same price. So if you like Potsdam and you're interested in supporting a smaller film manufacturer, pick up a roll of Amalia today. I don't think that the swirly twirlies are going to be on every roll. I'm pretty sure that was just a bad batch. If it's affecting Lomography stocks, then I'm sure the people coating the film are aware of it and have made moves to fix the problem. Or, I mean, maybe the textures are your thing, which I kind of like them. At least for my roll of Lomography, I felt like it significantly improved the roll because the roll was kind of uninteresting otherwise, and the textures added something je ne sais quoi. Let's move on. Next we have Açores 400p. This is a black and white stock named after an archipelago of 9 islands in Portugal where whales can be spotted throughout the year. I had wondered what the P stands for, as I've never seen a P-balanced film before. So I asked, and it turns out that it stands for panchromatic, which I think is a bit funny because it is a black and white stock, but 400p is 400 panchromatic, now you know. This one, I'll be honest, was probably my least favorite of the bunch, and maybe that's just because I shot it in suboptimal conditions, but the other stocks I shot were very versatile in a range of shooting conditions, and this one was not. I don't like the lack of contrast. I shot it mostly in studio and in indoor environments. It was in my camera for Vancouver Fashion Week, and it was a bit disappointing. The grain structure is very coarse and visible, and it kind of interrupts the detail in the shots. The lack of contrast doesn't help with that interruption of detail. I did get some kind of moody landscape photos during a climbing trip, which was cool, and I liked these a lot better than I liked the indoor shots, but even these ones I had to tamper with a bit in post before I got results that I was happy with. This would be a good film to try if you're taking pictures of architecture or historic streets and landmarks, something that would be better complemented by the grainy, nostalgic look of this film. Moving on, next we have a Coimbra 250D. This black and white stock is named after a famous university city. It was originally manufactured by Kodak Eastman for use in the motion picture industry, and says so on the box, which means that this is respooled Eastman XX, which is a super beautiful, creamy film stock. Highly recommend. I am really excited to shoot this roll as soon as I can get a leader retriever because, oh my god, the images are beautiful, it looks perfect, good general black and white film stock, not too contrasty, but just smooth enough. According to Cinemot and other reviews online, this is ideal for shooting low light scenes as it has a wide exposure latitude, typically movie films will, and it seems like you can push it quite far, as many folks mention how good it is in low light situations despite having an ISO rating of 250. Coimbra retails for around 12.5 Canadian dollars, which makes it slightly cheaper than other respoolings of XX. So that's nice. If you want to support Cinemot, this is a good economic choice. Moving on. Fado 200D. This black and white film stock is named after a musical style that is emblematic of Portuguese culture. This is a 200 ISO daylight balanced film characterized by high contrast and usefulness in low light situations. I think it looks really pretty. The tones are smooth and creamy. The grain structure is fine and renders a high level of detail. This was the one that I shot and lost my scans for. But I do remember being pleased with the results. You'll just have to take my word for it. All the images I found online taken with Fado look great. They are just contrasty enough, but still smooth and lush with a nice grain structure, and it's just all around a useful black and white film. All right, getting into my favorite stock here, we've got Pesoa 400D. It's black and white, and it's named after Fernando Pesoa, who was one of Portugal's most important modernist writers and poets. Cinemot's product listing describes this as being characterized by its high sharpness and sensitivity. And I would add that it has a nice, contrasty look. I'm a huge fan of contrast, so this is always a pro in my books. Great dynamic range, and a super fine grain structure. This was my favorite of the Cinemot products that I tried. I am absolutely in love with a ton of the photos I took on it. Even like the burner photos that I took right outside the lab before dropping off the roll, I really like. I hate to use the word creamy so much because it's kind of uncomfortable, but they are creamy. Like the tones are just, It feels like a nice, well-rounded and reliable film stock. I recommend it. Get this one, Pesoa. It's my favorite. No notes. So that is it for the black and white films. Now let's move on to the color film products. First up, we have Lisboa 1999. This film is characterized by a thick grain structure and desaturated colors. It's named after Lisbon, the capital city of Portugal, and I think this name is fitting because this seems to be their flagship color film. I'll give you a hint here as to what this is. When you see a color film described as vintage or nostalgic with desaturated colors, and it is 400 or 500 ISO, you can pretty much guarantee that it is one of the Wolfen twins. This film is undoubtedly either Wolfen NC 400 or 500, and judging by the color of the negatives, it is NC 500, which generally skews slightly warmer than 400. My photos came out nice and warm. I shot this in San Francisco and LA, so very warm environments this past spring. But unfortunately, these films are very susceptible to underexposure disease, and I've mentioned this in other videos where I talk about them. Underexposure disease is a condition where it looks bad when it is ever so slightly underexposed. So when you shoot this film, overexpose it. Don't shoot it indoors. Don't be fooled by the 400 or 500 ISO rating. In my experience, these have not been entirely accurate. I think you could probably shoot this at 200 ISO and get much better results. I got some pretty bleh photos when I tried to shoot it indoors, and I always make this mistake when I'm shooting with a new color stock that I don't know is a Wolfen stock. I assume everything is Kodak until I'm proven wrong, and I end up getting a bunch of underexposed photos from the roll like I did here. And I made the same mistake with the Flick Film Psychedelic 400 that I reviewed a few weeks ago. Avoid underexposure disease and overexpose this. Otherwise, I quite like it. I think it's fun to shoot. This stock has a fun novelty vibe. It's not fantastic for portraits, but it is great for architecture and very sunny landscapes. Moving on now to the final film I'm going to talk about. It is Cinemot's newest film offering. We have Minho. Minho is a 250 ISO daylight balanced color film that must be processed in ECN2. It is named after a historic province in the northern region of Portugal, and the box has a little picture of a woman dancing the Vira dance, which is a popular Portuguese folk dance originating in the Minho region. Minho is a fine grain saturated film stock that captures colors in vivid hues, and it is actually another respooled Kodak stock Kodak Vision 3. It is the same stuff that CineStill is made out of, except this stock has not been converted from its movie film state, so do not try to process this in C41. Kodak Vision 3 is a pretty classic color film stock. It's much loved in the community, and I'd highly recommend it if you have access to ECN2 processing. Minho retails for around 13 Canadian dollars, which is pretty good for a color film, and a bit cheaper than its competitors. I would be happy to test this out, but unfortunately, I don't know how to develop ECN2, and none of the labs in my area do it, so I'd have to like ship it somewhere, and I will never get around to that. And that is all that I have to say about the films. That's everything, that's all of their products, the complete range. I'm gonna talk a little bit about the company, and then we'll wrap up. Cinemot Films is based in Porto, Portugal. Apparently their journey as a film company began 12 years ago with the brand Maquinas de Outros Tempos, but it seems like Cinemot, the company, has only recently hit the stage. Their first Instagram post is from May of 2022, and it seems that they used to have a different Kodak-made color film as their flagship film stock. After making a few posts about this film stock back in 2022, they went on hiatus until August of 2023. In September of 2023, they announced the release of Cinemot Lisboa 1999, as well as Amalia and Pesoa. By November of 2023, they had 5 films available, now including Coimbra and Fado. I think the company has been doing a really good job of influencer marketing. And I don't just say that because they sent me free film. I say that because when I look online, I see so much content about their film by smaller creators in the film photography community. On TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, they are doing a really cool job of picking out people to send films to, and they're getting great example images and reviews of those films in return. It made it really easy to do research for this video. There's so many film products out there that have no example images anywhere online and are completely opaque about what you're actually getting when you buy the film. Cinemot has done what they can to prevent that and make it very apparent what you're gonna get when you buy the film. It's good for the film photography community, and it's good for the film stock, and it's good for people like me who get free film. And that's pretty much everything that I had to say. Thank you guys so much for watching, I really appreciate it. Do leave a like if you liked this video. You can leave a comment down below letting me know what you thought, if you liked this film, if you've shot with it, what results you got. You can also subscribe to my channel for new photography related content every week. And I will see you guys back here next week with a new video. In the meantime, I want you guys to stay sharp and don't forget to keep shooting. Bye guys.